In the intro video that we did for solving equations, we did a few simple examples. We actually did one example that we solved two different ways. In this one, we're going to just look at more pretty simple examples of solving equations. So why don't we do one like this? X minus 10 equals 2. Okay, x minus 10 equals 2. So if you remember from last time, we want to figure out what number we could plug in here for x so that if we take away 10, minus 10 from it, we're going to get 2. All right. Now, again, from last time, we know that we could kind of guess and check, but we said that we want to avoid doing that because as this gets more complicated, it's going to be harder to just pick numbers and test it. So we want to get a good method to just do every single time where we could just solve it algebraically, right, using algebra instead of having to guess. So let's do the same thing here. Remember, the goal is to get x all by itself, and currently, if we look, I could even draw like a dotted line to split this down the middle, right? So we have like the left side of the equal sign and the right side. All right, I think of it like this when I think of these problems. And we want to get the x to be all by itself on the left side. So currently, what's keeping the x from being all by itself is that minus 10 that we see here. So, of course, we want to get rid of that. And if you remember from last time, the way that we get rid of a minus 10 is we do the opposite. So this time, the opposite of negative 10 or minus 10 is going to be plus 10 or positive 10. Okay, so let's write that in. Under the minus 10, we'll write plus 10. And just like last time, the minus 10 and the plus 10 will cancel each other out, which is what we're trying to do. And we have to balance the equation, so we have to also do it on the right side. So on the other side of the equal sign, we'll also write plus 10. Now my equation is balanced, which means I'm doing it the right way. 2 plus 10 is equal to 12. That's pretty simple. We could bring down the equal sign, and let me clean it up a little bit so it's not so messy looking. Over here, the 10's already canceled out, and we just have to bring down the x now. And look at that. The x is now all by itself over here on the left side, which was our goal all along. And we get our answer. X is equal to 12. So I like to circle it just so that I know where my answer is. So x is equal to 12. If we go back to the original problem, we could actually plug in the answer that we got, 12, and just see if it works. So we could plug it in up here in place of x, and we could say to ourselves, okay, if x is 12, then 12 minus 10, sure enough, is equal to 2. So that's how we know that 12 was the right answer. All right, let's try another example. X divided by 3 equals 6. All right, so again, just like last time, we could think to ourselves, what number, if I divide it by 3, will give me 6? Okay. Well, if you think back to the last couple examples we've seen, our goal is always to get the x by itself, of course, and the way that we usually do it is by doing the opposite of whatever operation is happening to the x, right? The operations are either plus, minus, multiplication, or division, right? Those are the 4 basic operations. So we always want to do the opposite. So in this new example, it's x divided by 3. So in order to cancel out or do the opposite of that division, we're going to do the opposite of division, which is multiply. So this is how I would write it for this one. You might not have seen something like this before, but we're going to write multiplied by 3. That little dot also means multiplication. Okay. And if I do, on the left side, if I'm dividing by 3, and then multiplying by 3, those are just going to cancel each other out. So I could draw a line through the 3's to show that they cancel each other out. All right, which is great because that means the x is now all by itself. And just like last time, I want to balance out the equation by doing the same thing, multiplying by 3 on the right side with the 6. So I'll bring down the x. The 3's canceled out. I'll bring down the equal sign here, and 6 times 3, even if you need to use a calculator, that's okay. This is going to be equal to 18. And it turns out that that's the answer.